Hi, my name's Claire. You've probably heard me speak on every single one of those 13 events that Tom has mentioned. I'm one of the sort of founding members of the group when we did the collaboration between Thomas Cook, BGL and CTM. So I've been here the whole time and yeah, I never really shut up. So I thought the opportunity to do a lightning talk and try and get my talk done in the 10 to 15 minutes would be a good personal challenge. So on my screen at the moment, you can see this quote that I'm starting out with, which is obviously William Shakespeare, quote from Hamlet, to be or not to be, that is the question. And I've taken this quote and I've slightly adapted it for my talk today. So mine looks like this, to be A or not to be A. So when I was younger, probably it didn't happen to just me, it's probably everybody, people used to say to me, what do you want to be when you're older? What do you want to be? What do you want to do? I literally had no idea, not a Scooby at all, but I'm pretty sure I wouldn't have put my hand up and said, I want to be a business analyst. That was definitely not a plan that I had at all. So my talk today is about my unplanned journey to becoming a BA. Slightly inspired by Mike's talk last time, but literally the best thing that I could think to talk about today. So I'm hoping it's of use to somebody. So this is how I have always thought of myself, like this little yellow balloon, drifting along in the breeze, going wherever that breeze takes me. My mum calls me a floater, which is a slightly less complimentary term, but whatever, mothers as they are. So, but I basically never had a plan in my life. I've never had a direction. I've never really made an actual decision. I just kind of go with the flow. I follow the crowd and I'll take the easy route. If there's a decision point, I'll take the easy route. And I think potentially I was like an unconscious believer in fate, that maybe there was this predetermined path that I was on. I just didn't know it, or I would magically find it and follow it. Very free-spirited, if you like, but as I say, no specific plan. So this is just a quick whistle-stop tour of my life, my seemingly directionless life so far, just to get you up to speed. There's no years attached to this, so you won't be able to work out how old I am, but some of you probably know that already. So I was born in Guildford in Surrey many years ago. And when I was about one and a half, my family moved to Peterborough as part of the new township and the development that they were doing in Peterborough. I went to a school in Warrington, which is in North Peterborough, called William Law, and it was a Church of England school, which was interesting because we were a Roman Catholic family where we had religion, but I wasn't particularly religious, and neither were my immediate family. After primary school, I went to Arthur Mellowes Village College, which is also in Peterborough, obviously for my secondary school years. And then after that, I went to the University of Lincoln. I was one of the first people to go to the University of Lincoln when it became a university. So before that, it was Lincoln and Humberside as like a college. It had just progressed to university status. But that kind of shaped my years quite definitely. I had some great times, as I'm sure anybody who's been to university will tell you, unless it's been in the last year or so. I do feel bad for those people. But yeah, had some great times there and met some friends that I still have now. Very informative. As part of my time at Lincoln University, I got the fantastic opportunity to go to America, and more specifically to a small college called Juniata, which is in Pennsylvania, literally small town Pennsylvania. The college I thought was quite big, bearing in mind I'd come from a brand new university that was still growing. But I was also, while I was over at Juniata, taken to somewhere called Penn State. If you've ever heard of it, it is enormous. So in terms of scale, Juniata was actually quite a small liberal arts college in the States. But again, I had a great time there. I was only there for a year, but again, I've made lifelong friends, and it definitely informed my life. When I came back from America, I started quite soon after, I started at Thomas Cook. And when I started my career at Thomas Cook, this is what their logo looked like, the old globe. By the time I left, the logo had changed to this one. That's how many years I was there, 16 years in total. So anyone who's keeping a track is probably getting close to my actual age now. And after Thomas Cook, I moved to Bauer Media Group, which is where I am now. So not exactly a straight line to where I am at the moment in my career, bit of a wibbly wobbly journey. And so moving on, as I say, wibbly wobbly journey, this quote really sticks with me. It's from an American inspirational speaker. She's a lawyer, a spiritual teacher, an author, a life coach, television personality. Anything and everything you've experienced has been purposeful. It has brought you to where you are now. So if you noticed before, I said that my life was seemingly directionless. And I always thought of it as being that I would just drift around, you know, move from one thing to the next. Chance to go to America? Yes, I'm in, take me. It just kind of happened, things happened. However, I'm now wondering if instead of being at the mercy of fate and on this predetermined path, whether I actually have a destiny, whether I was meant to be a BA, and all of the choices that I have made, whether consciously or not, have actually brought me to this point. And if I look back now, I actually feel like I can track a straight line path through my working life to my current role. So I'm just going to talk you through my journey at Thomas Cook really quickly. Hopefully I've still got time on the clock. I started off customer service desk. So obviously I had to have good interpersonal skills, good oral and written communications. I was speaking to customers on a daily basis about issues with their holiday, things they wanted to change, etc. But I also had the opportunity to get onto the L&D programme at Thomas Cook. So we learned a lot of soft skills, negotiation skills, project management, presentation skills, whole range of stuff in that particular role. I then moved on into a reporting role based on an MI team in the contact centre. So that kind of involved analytical thinking, some problem solving. I had to be quite detail orientated. We did all of the performance reporting for the contact centre. We had to calculate people's commissions. My God, the most emotive subject ever. So detail orientation and a high level of accuracy was really important in that role. I then moved into a product owner role. Are there any product owners on the call? I hope not. I hated this role, quite simply. I only did it for a short while. There were a lot of challenges within this role. It was a new role within a newly formed team. So obviously that brings its own little challenges. But as part of this role, I had to have good organisation skills. I had to have great stakeholder management. I had to be able to organise and manage my own team. I had to have good business knowledge. I did requirements engineering. I did cost benefit analysis. I had to model processes. And as I say, it was a very challenging role, but I learned a lot. I actually grew a lot as a person. I then spoke to a friend who said, do you know what? You would be great in our tech team as a business analyst. So all of the things, when we sat down and looked at all the things I liked and disliked about that product owner role, I could almost make a clear split between things that were more project managery and things that were more business analysty. And all the things that were business analysty were the things that I really liked about that role. So I became a business analyst. That's when it happened. And it actually happened at a really good time for me because it was when the government apprenticeship scheme was changing. So Thomas Cook was actually investing in sending people on apprenticeships. And in our case, it was with a company called Firebrand. So that gave me a really good position to be in as a new business analyst. As a tech business analyst, I had to have an understanding of technology, more stakeholder management, more business knowledge, more processes. It was a really good, hotbed for that kind of thing. Of course, we all know how the Thomas Cook story ends, and that is how my story ends with Thomas Cook after 16 years. It ended in the Thomas Cook company failing. However, I was kept on as part of the retention team, as a lot of people in tech were. So actually, the retention period was also a great period of learning for me as an individual. I mentioned my apprenticeship just now, and I do truly believe that every day is a school day. If you haven't learned something, you can't go to bed yet. There is always something new that you can learn, something different you can learn, something different you can understand in a new way. So there is an opportunity to learn in every single day. For my apprenticeship, As I say, it was done through Firebrand, who specialise in accelerated training, and they delivered BCS training, and they worked closely with a company called Metadata Training, who I still do continuous development with now. They do a lot of good webinars. They chunk out the the syllabus for that course, and they train it in pieces, which is really handy. I also got the opportunity to do Prince 2 Agile course, which went way over my head, let's be honest. And I also got the opportunity to do my Six Sigma Green Belt as well. But the best bit of the training was that we got to do what all business analysts love to do. We did some process mapping. They gave us post-it notes. They gave us a fabulous book of tools and techniques. And it was, as I said before, a really good basis for me as a brand new BA to take all of those things I'd ever learned in my career and go, do you know what? This is actually a business analyst skill. So all those things I mentioned in my previous life as a Thomas Cook or my career had actually felt like it was leading me to this point. So maybe when I was younger, I didn't put my hand up and say that I wanted to be a BA, but I'm actually really glad that I've drifted in this direction, that my balloon has brought me here on the wind. And I think potentially I was already in training at that young age. I was always ready with a question. I always asked why. I always wanted to know how things worked and why they were the way they were. I'm sure it drove my parents balmy. However, I think it makes me quite a good BA, along with some of those other skills that I picked up along the way. So whether it is a destiny or not, whether it's your destiny or not, I would say keep asking questions. Always ask, never satisfied.